So yesterday we made a coffee butter soap and I totally messed up the pour itself because I didn't cut it the right way and all the things. But today we're going to do the same pour and I'm not going to mess it up. I promise. And we're going to be playing with a coffee oil. And I am very excited to tell you more about all of the things that we're doing. And I'm going to do that in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for another round of coffee soap fun. And today, as I said, we are working with coffee oil in our soap recipe. Now, I will be giving you the recipe within the video. We are going to talk about it, but just first up, coffee oil instead of the coffee butter seems a little strange because it's like, well, why? Well, the reason why is I want to see what the performance of the bar actually does if we're just using the coffee oil, which is a part of the coffee butter, and eliminating that shea butter in totality, so the butter part, and continuing on from there. And we're also going to talk about more of the benefits of why making your own coffee oil at home is actually way cooler than buying it at any of our vendors. So let's get to that. And I'm going to, again, as I said, make that whole big, beautiful design thing that I was going for. I'm going to do that pour the right way. So we're going to see what it was meant to look like yesterday, but using different colors and scents and recipe really today. So let's go there and do all of those things. Okay, so we are doing a coffee oil soap today, and we will be using an espresso scent that will only be used in half of the batch because the espresso that I get from Brambleberry, one of the few things I still buy from Brambleberry, even though I love her, I love Anne-Marie, she's awesome, is actually very potent. And so using it in just half of the batch is going to be great. We're going to be getting the discoloration in the copper and no discoloration in the kaolin version in the white part because we are putting no scent in. And the recipe is as follows. So we are looking at 50% green coffee oil, 50% coconut oil, 5% superfat. Kaolin clay will be in half. That is the white portion. 2.4 times water. And there are no lye enhancements. So 2.4 times the lye is the water amount. Now, just for funsies, let's go ahead and look at the differences here. We have green coffee plus coconut. There's some slight differences between the two. And the olive oil plus coconut is a 50-50 split because a soap calc does have them both within the actual options to choose from. And so there are some differences between the two, mostly in the oleic and the linoleic, a little bit in the palmitic, but for the most part, the INS number is still coming in at 48, which means it's going to be a hard bar, and that's reasonably all you can glean from the INS number. But I was curious. I wanted to see what the real differences were as far as the fatty acid breakdown, since they did have a coffee oil listed, which would theoretically mean that somebody's tested this and have the fatty acid composition profiles. But we actually know that to not be the case with soap calc. So that was just more for funsies. If you were interested in the breakdown, pretty similar because we did do this olive oil, coffee oil infusion. Now, to that, I said, the olive oil, coffee oil infusion, that is the reason why I wanted to test this, because the coffee oil, if it does have different characteristics of the olive oil, then it can produce a different bar than, just this olive oil, coffee oil with coffee, infused within it. And so I wanted to see. And for the most part, we're not going to tell. There's not going to be much of a difference between the two. Again, we're going to have a hard bar theoretically based on the INS number, but who knows? Or the iodine number rather, but who knows? So with this, but who knows, 50% coconut oil and 50% olive oil, realistically what that means is Yeah, I guess your bar is going to be firm because there's a lot of coconut oil in it, but that 50% olive oil is going to really, I think, decrease this lather. Maybe. I would expect for it to be a very moisturizing lather and not nearly as cool as what I think yesterday's bar is going to be, moisture rich, but a big bubble. And I don't know. I guess we'll see. I would love it if I could be pleasantly surprised with all of this. And the coffee, the power of the coffee oil, and all the benefits that exist within the coffee could very well boost that lather, so we don't end up with like a slimy type feel that you would get with a bar of soap that has a lot of olive oil in it. But I did want to test this, just completely eliminating the shea. I suppose what I am saying by talking about the recipe and my decision to put in just two oils, coconut oil and olive oil, is I don't know what the end result is going to be. We haven't tested it yet. We'll do that at the end of the week. But I would not consider this a balanced recipe with just these two ingredients. Now, with the shea and the olive and the coffee butter that we did yesterday, yeah, I guess I would. Or I'm sorry, the shea and the coconut and the coffee oil that we did yesterday, I guess I would consider that a balanced batch because the all of the fatty acids, those profiles are lining up realistically where I want them. So I'm going to be having the bar hardening that's going to come from like your myristic acid or your palmitic acid, your stearics. You're going to have the actually, the conditioning from your oleic, your linoleic, all of the things, and then your lauric for bar hardening with the coconut. So it has a good blend of your fatty acids. And so I like that a lot better. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend doing this particular recipe again until we get a test. I do know, since I have had my hands on them, and I can tell you that it is a very firm bar of soap. And so that's good. And it did not take any longer than the rest of these soaps to cure and to stop losing its water weight, which is also good. So that's, big news, big ups for us right now. And also this pour, isn't it cool? I know, it's a lot of fun. So I did the little pour thing from the edge of the mold there and propped up the mold at some point so it would all kind of do gravity down to the other side of the mold. Continue to just alternate the colors using like a 3 or 4 count on each layer. And now I took a skewer and did figure eights all the way down to the bottom of the mold. And now I'm just going to decorate the top because I can't not decorate the top. I'm a sucker for that, even though I know that I'm cutting this the right way, which is to say I'm going to chunk it all out and then cut the chunks horizontally into 3 different sections to really reveal this beautiful pattern I'm going for. So let's see that. Okay, and onto this cut, and this was C-popped and gelled. So was yesterday's. I don't know if I said that, but it was C-popped and gelled, and we are ready to unmold, and it's going to come out of the mold very beautifully, no problems whatsoever getting it out of the mold. I did not have any issues with that with yesterday's soap either, but I do love how it pops out of the mold. So beautiful, so shiny. That's definitely the enhancements coming from the coffee for sure, because, having not used coffee and used coffee, there's totally a difference. And it is a beautiful, beautiful loaf of soap. You can see that gorgeous copper color. It sort of looks like a few of the pieces on yesterday's loaf that I was really in love with. And then like the rest of it was kind of gray inside. Very, very stunning. Very, very beautiful. I did not put this in the fridge to firm it up before taking it out. It just popped out that shiny. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now for the actual proper way to cut this, we will be chunking it out into 4 sections here. So, equally measuring down the length of the soap itself, cutting that off at the point, which is why I love the single bar. And that's what it would look like if I cut it from the top down for all of the soaps. Since I am going to be chunking this out properly and cutting it horizontally, we will be able to reveal the pattern that should theoretically be gleaned from pouring the soap the way that I was pouring it. And again, I think there's a name for this pour. I don't know what that name is though. So if anyone does, you could totally tell me and all the things. But we get to see both cutters in action with all of this, which I guess I'm super excited about. And realistically, I think I'm basically excited about this recipe. I'm interested in this recipe. If it turns out being the big winner in the lather, I would be very surprised, but you never know. Like I said, stranger things have happened. And that's pretty cute. Very wispy swirls within all of that. The actual pouring itself, the batter was beautiful. It did not get overly thick. I was working with the espresso from Brambleberry, which has no problems whatsoever with acceleration. It does definitely have problems with discoloration though, so this will go very, very dark. All the pieces that are currently copper, they will go very dark, and wowie wow, isn't that beautiful? It's beautiful. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking artichokes or hearts of palm. And whenever I start saying like vegetables and stuff, I then realize I don't actually know what those things look like. So I'm probably wrong, but it looks like something. And that is also really beautiful as well. It's primarily going to be copper though. You see all that? That's going to discolor like a mother for sure. Very limited amount of the white. And I did split the soap batter into 2 equal portions, one for the white and one for the copper. So this was farther on down, I suppose, in the, the pour. But the top of that, absolutely stunning. So beautiful and scrolly and swirly. That's so beautiful. I love it. And yeah, good firmness from it right away, which is always nice. Whenever you're working with higher amounts of olive oil, you do run into it taking longer to cure out because it is a slow oil to, finish its whole saponification thing and all of the jazz. Doesn't want to let go of that water. And that's beautiful too. What a gorgeous bar of soap for sure. I am very excited to show you guys what this ends up looking like after a full cure and how much it discolors and whether or not you would have preferred just the copper. Like I'm looking at this now and I am a sucker for this exact color, really. So I guess I would prefer it just overall. But I don't know. We'll see when we get to see them all together because as I told you yesterday, all of these soaps ended up doing very interesting things during the cure. So I'm very excited to show you that. But that is what these ultimately look like, now with fresh soap, and the pattern itself, absolutely stunning. So it makes it really cool as a way to maybe test this cool soap pour skill thing, even though I know it's going to discolor. It's beautiful anyway, though. So that is our next one, just the coffee oil. And again, we will be testing these at the end of the week. So stay tuned for that. So when those soaps are all said and done, they're absolutely stunning. I loved them so much cutting them. It was so exciting. Beautiful swirls inside. Absolutely gorgeous. It was a very fulfilling pour for sure. The colors, obviously when you're working with coffees, there is the potential that you're going to get discoloration. And so I am looking forward to showing you what these ultimately did because I leaned into the discoloration for these 2 soaps, picked colors that were going to be, similar to what the fragrance itself was going to discolor to for, reasons. I am doing this really weird because for the next 2 soaps, we are going to be working with coffee, the brewed coffee in place of our water within our lye solution and see what kind of, discoloration we could get. And I'll be working with scents that do not discolor at all. So you can be notified when I dropped those and you can, come and join us for the fun, which will be like, tomorrow and the following day. But, just subscribe anyway, because that's cool. It makes me happy. For the Sudsers, hey, thank you for subscribing and making me happy. You guys are absolutely epic. I hope you are enjoying the coffee challenge. I hope you are enjoying your week. I hope you are all staying warm. I haven't talked about how cold I am, but it has been an incredibly cold, past 6 days, and my heater is just going through it. It's doing the most right now. I don't think it's turned off in 5 days straight, just to get up to 65 sad degrees. It's wild. There's a lot going on at the moment, actually. But thank you for being here with me for a little bit of your going on at the moment. That makes sense. I am out of here, but I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of coffee, fueled, fun, soapy things fun. Bye.